We're breaking down the debate this morning. Senators Barack Obama and John McCain facing off in the final debate. And my next guest says that he learned more about the candidates from what he saw rather than what they said. Dan Hill is a facial coding analyst. He's also author of FaceTime. Thanks for being with us, Dan.
Absolutely. Happy to be here.
So when you talk about facial coding, just explain briefly for the viewers what you look for.
Sure. Facial coding is the scientific ability to gauge how someone is reacting. So there's 43 muscles in the face. I'm looking for how that breaks out based on 23 combinations of muscle activities. Now, the reason why facial coding works so well, first, it's universality. Even a person born blind has the same facial expressions. Second, spontaneity. This is the only place in the body where the muscles attach right to the skin. So a politician will show us when they have a reaction, and over time they're going to reveal their personality based on the patterns of how they emote.
And what was your overall observations about last night?
Well, what McCain really needed was to show more warmth than heat. That's his problem, the anger issue. When he characterized voters as being both hurting and angry, he said angry 3 times, and that is the same sort of tilt that you see from McCain. So I think he came out in the first third of the debate. He was warmer. He smiled a lot when he introduced Joe the plumber. He really showed you a positive side to McCain's personality. But as the debate unwound, over the next hour, he rarely smiled. In fact, it wasn't until he got back to mothers and adopting children. Then he had a wonderful, warm smile. That was McCain I think we needed to see more of. Often he was kind of dismissive, angry. He was scowling. He was growling. He was glaring at Obama. That's the McCain that I think makes people uncomfortable. All
right, I want you to hear this clip and get your read when you talk about a tale of two cities for John McCain and explain
Sure.
why you said that. Let's look.
I want Joe the plumber to spread that wealth around. You told him you wanted to spread the wealth around. The whole premise behind Senator Obama's plans are class warfare. Let's spread the wealth around.
Why did you think that moment was so critical?
One is because he introduced Joe the plumber with real empathy and warmth. The second thing is when he used the anger here, I think he's on very safe territory. I don't think most Americans are going to go for wealth redistribution. So the class warfare, the taxes, trying to stay away from big government, that's good territory for McCain. His indignation, his trademark anger works there. In fact, later on, he made the Freudian slip and said this was Senator Governor. Or government, rather, about Obama. It's kind of a funny moment.
And speaking of Barack Obama, let's take a look at how you believe that it turned, or his demeanor turned, as they discussed negative campaigning. Let's look at the clip first.
All the public reports indicated were shouting, when my name came up, things like terrorist and kill him, and that your running mate didn't mention.
Why was that a telling moment?
Well, because they both showed fear at one moment in this debate. In McCain's case, it came when Bob Schieffer said, well, what are you going to cut? And it stopped McCain for a moment. McCain's fairly thin-skinned. He shows his emotions much more readily than Obama. In fact, probably 2 to 4 times as much in these debates. But as Obama finished up this comment, he showed a little bit of concern on his face, and naturally so. If you're going to have opponents out there saying, kill you, that's pretty negative stuff. And I think what was really effective for Obama is when he came back and said 100% of your advertising has been negative. Well, lo and behold, McCain's body language supported that point. For most of this debate, McCain was negative in his emoting. It led credibility to Obama's charge.
All right, Dan Hill, facial coding analyst and author of FaceTime. Thanks for joining us this morning.